Welcome to All Correlated. I'm your host, Jordan Phillip, and my special guest today is Deen Somally. He is an online educator focusing on health, wealth, and Web3. How you doing, Deen?
Yes, Jordan. Good to see you.
All right, so I met Deen at a crypto conference in October, right? And when I was there, I was like, I wasn't really feeling the conference until you came on stage. Because I think I was gonna walk out. I was like, I think I'm gonna leave. But then I was like, oh, this guy's actually like solid. Like, you know what he's talking about. And then after you were done speaking, I walked out. Like, I'm not kidding. I don't know if you saw me afterwards. But I got your LinkedIn.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing you actually.
Yeah, I got your LinkedIn. I was like, I'm out of here. I'll see you. Yeah, man, it was pretty good.
Yeah, so, appreciate that.
Of course. So, what made you start crypto, and when did you start crypto?
Yeah, my story goes back to 2017. Right, I was working in a hospital at the time, and one of my friends came up to me and he was like, "Mate, look at this thing. It's called Bitcoin." And I was like, "What the hell is that?" And what we did was, like, three of us, we ended up having lunchtime meetings where we got together and started discussing this and like what it is, what Bitcoin is, what its implications are, and it all felt very new and like not very clear what's going on. The main reason why it was introduced to me was because of the money aspect, right? So that was like the initial excitement, but once I started researching into it, then I realized it's way bigger than that.
And what made you think it was like way bigger? Like what like stuck out? Like, oh, this is a thing that I need to like dedicate my life to, type of thing.
Yeah. So I got involved before, like in the middle of 2017, and I'd never invested in anything before. So I was very hesitant about putting money in. But eventually in one of these business meetings, I had with my friends about this, we ended up deciding to put in £300 in. At the time, it felt like a lot. Like, it was very uncomfortable to put that in.
Yeah.
But then I bought it, and then I bought it at the worst possible time in December 2017.
That's the top.
Yeah, basically bought the top, and then afterwards it just crashed. So then, like any beginner investor, like your mood is dictated by the price chart. Right? So I was like, this is just like nonsense. But then, in 2018, I had more friends just come and talk to me about it, and one of my friends gave me a book. Actually, I've got it here. I'll show you.
Yeah.
He gave me this book called Bitcoin: The Future of Money by Dominic Frisby, and I read this in 2018, and that is what made me realize this is more than just a way to make money. This is a global technology revolution.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was the same way. Like, I started in 2017. I think you bought Bitcoin, right? That's the only coin you bought in 2017, right?
Yeah, just BTC.
Yeah, I did like the exact opposite. So I was in Japan at the time, and then I couldn't make a Coinbase because you had to have like a US number back then. So I had to like ask my mom, like, "Yo, hurry up, make me an account." And I was trying to buy Litecoin of all coins. And it was like $60. So I had all my money. That was a lot to me, $600, which was like half my net worth at the time. I just started working. And I threw it into Litecoin. A week after I wanted it at $300, it already like hit the all-time high. And then I think it was like November, December. And then, Litecoin has never, ever visited back at all-time high. So all the money I had in it was
funny,
gone.
You know that do you still own Litecoin?
No. When it pumped back up, like this past, 2021, I sold it for like a loss still, but better than what I did at 2017.
That's good. Silver lining, at least.
I think I bought some Tron, and I bought like the worst coins. I think I bought Tron, EOS, Ripple XRP at the top, like $3 Ripple type of thing. It's just really bad portfolio. I didn't I didn't read no books. I just bought coins from YouTube. So.
Yeah. I never really fully understood the appeal of Litecoin. It's like, people calling Bitcoin digital gold and they're calling Litecoin digital silver.
Yeah, I remember that.
I never bought it because I read that the founder, Charlie Lee, I think his name is, he sold the top in 2017. He himself sold his Litecoin. So so then I thought, if he's selling, like, why would anyone buy? So yeah, that's why I never really got into it. Fortunately,
and I even think like the whole silver narrative is like kind of like dead because we have Bitcoin Lightning Network, and like Lightning is really fast, so you don't really need like a faster version of Bitcoin now. So
yeah, I think it's played out.
Yeah, exactly. So for people who are new to crypto, right, listening to this podcast, like, why should they buy crypto? Like, if they seen all these exchanges go down and Terra Luna go to zero, like legitimately go to zero, what's the whole point of still buying crypto?
Yeah. So I think it's much more than just a way to make money. Like I said before, there's a technology digital revolution that's happening. We're in the middle of the next renaissance, right? With global technology is developing exponentially at a rate that humans cannot perceive properly. It's happening right now, January 2023, with AI. AI, I think, is like the technology revolution of this year. Last year and the year before, probably the year before, it was crypto. And the way that I like to think about this is, imagine the world in the year, let's say 2080. Like, we're probably not even going to be on the earth. We'll be very old on the earth. Like, how do you imagine the world is going to look like, right? Do you think that we're still going to be using paper, cash and coins? Like, do you think that, like, you don't see that when you picture that vision of the future, no one's using paper money and coins, right? Everything's digital, right? So I like to look at that vision of the future and reverse engineer as to what needs to happen to get from today to that point. And one of those things is digital money, right? But another interesting thing that I heard recently was that humans are very good at trying to predict technological progress in the future, but what we are not so good at is predicting social change in the future. That's why there's a cartoon called The Jetsons, where they fly around in like flying cars and stuff, but they still get up and go somewhere to go to work, So they could predict the technology change, that's simple, but not the social change of how people work from home, And I think that is also something that is very hard to try and predict for the future. But the way that I see crypto is that it's one of those core pieces of infrastructure that is needed for building the society of tomorrow.
That makes sense. Because I always like look back, or even like not look back, but look at like the coins now, like on CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko. And I'm just like, why do I have this? And you have to like step back and be like, okay, like stable coins, you can earn yield, like 2% yield, 3% yield safely. You know what I mean? If you're actually using like a DeFi, not using like Celsius or something like that, versus your bank account, you're earning like, versus earning like 0.01%, you can earn like 2, 3. If Bitcoin does live up to its hype of being digital gold, it'd be more stable and less volatile. So yeah, there's stuff to look forward to. It's just hard, like you said, to imagine the social change,
Yeah. So the key thing about this, I wanted to say quickly, the key thing about crypto is that it's money that is not under the control of the government. And this is something that is new to people. The only form of money that people have traditionally used it that's not under the control of the government is something like gold or it's something like stocks, right? But having a politically free form of money for me is the most important factor. Just like hundreds of years ago, there was the separation of religion and states, and that transformed society. Today, with Bitcoin, you get the separation of money and state, and that in itself will bring the revolution and the renaissance.
So, like, do you think Bitcoin will replace like the pound or dollar, or you think they can work like hand in hand together?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I feel like I read recently Ray Dalio's book, Principles for Dealing with the Changing World Order. And after reading that book, it's great, by the way. He talks about how empires rise and fall and goes into some of the core components of empires and what it is that makes them so good. And after reading that book, I feel like another Bretton Woods is going to happen in the near future. I mean, hard to predict when, but so for people who don't know, right, Bretton Woods was an event. It's a place, right, and an event happened there in 1947, I believe, after World War II, where the entire financial global order was restructured after World War II, and following that, it made the dollar the global world reserve currency. I have a prediction that at some point in the future, there will be another Bretton Woods event where we need another mass global restructuring of the financial world. And from that, Bitcoin like makes sense to be the form of currency that all other currencies are built on, because it's not under the control of any country right now, because dollars are the global world reserve currency. They have power over other countries. They can use that power. Like, for example, 70% of dollars are not held by America. They're not held by Americans. 70% of dollars are held by other countries outside of America because of the world reserve currency status. These other countries, if they use dollars as their main form of currency because their own country's currency has been destroyed, right, throughout inflation, and other people use it outside of America because it's the predominant form of currency for global transactions. So if you want to send money from one country, from like Mexico to Japan, one way that it can be done is to go through the convert into dollars and then convert it into yen. So yeah, I feel like that Bitcoin will it's built to be that money that everyone can trust, and that's what I see in the future.
And then to, I guess, tag along with, you're saying, I didn't know that 70% of US dollars didn't exist in America. But to tag along with that, right? Let's say we're in South America or like Africa, like less developed continents or nations in those regions. How can like crypto as a whole help people who are unbanked?
Yeah, for real. Yeah. So in Africa, there are 14 countries in Africa that use their main form of currency as something called the CFA franc. And the CFA franc is a form of currency that is under the control of the French government. And the French government created the CFA franc system, and they based it on the structure used by Hitler and the Nazis, that financial structure which Hitler used to build currency to control other countries. So that's what the CFA franc is based on. And the French government currently use it to financially control 14 countries in Africa. And these countries, what it means is that anytime they buy something, I think the French government have first dibs, that have first rights on anything that gets produced in the countries. And anytime they want to convert the CFA franc to another currency, they have to convert it to euros first, when the French government take a cut, and then they can convert it to other currencies. So the point is that these countries in Africa, they were given their liberation in terms of slavery, right? But they're still financially enslaved. So freedom is not real freedom unless there's financial freedom.
Yeah.
So that's the example, and that's just one example happening in Africa. But there's other. So then, what these African countries can do is use Bitcoin instead, right? And then that itself is a form of liberation. That itself is a form of them gaining their own freedom. Yeah, that's just one example. There's others from around the world as well.
Right. So is Bitcoin the only coin that can like do that type of stuff? Because not every coin is decentralized, you know, like you might have coins like BNB, which even though it's like top 3, I think it has like 7 people who run the network, like validators. So that can easily be shut down. So what other coins can like, I guess, scale up to like Bitcoin's level?
Yeah, I think it's very important to distinguish the difference between Bitcoin and every single other coin, right? Bitcoin in itself it's not. I don't even see Bitcoin as like I see altcoins as like tech startups. Every altcoin is essentially a tech startup, and it's just like buying a tech stock in a way. But Bitcoin, I don't even see it like that. I see it like a commodity, which is what Gary Gensler says as well. Actually, he says that Bitcoin is a commodity, and it should be treated as such. So yeah, very, very big difference. Like I don't feel like if I was one of those countries in Africa, I wouldn't be buying BNB to try and gain like financial freedom.
Yeah.
The key thing about Bitcoin is that it's the most decentralized, and like you said, like there's 7 whatever validator nodes for BNB, but Bitcoin has thousands and thousands. So that's the metric for me to look at.
And just to push back, so would you tie in Ethereum to being like a regular altcoin, or you think it's like something more like a commodity, like oil type of commodity?
I do think that Ethereum might be like that. Like that special kind of, not an altcoin, but not Bitcoin in a like a league of its own. But I've been thinking a bit differently recently with the whole merge going on. So now that the merge has happened, I still don't know for certain about the technological details. I'm just going off how I feel now, really. So this isn't really based on like hard facts, but just from the way that I've been thinking about things. So with Ethereum going through the merge, right, they've gone from a proof of work system, which is the consensus mechanism that Bitcoin used. That is, I would say, is more fair, but it's more energy intensive. And then now they've gone to a proof of stake system. But to me, that seems like the people who own the most Ethereum now have more power. So whilst they might be more energy efficient, it doesn't seem like it feels like there's actually been a potential drop in how fair it is. But I don't know that for certain.
Yeah, I think they're going to try to like split up some of the like staking pools, because like Lido and Rocket Pool and the Coinbase Kraken, like these big exchanges have like the biggest stake. So theoretically, if the CEO of Coinbase pissed off one day, he can change up the whole network at the flip of a switch.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that's what you're saying. It's not
a good point. Yeah.
But even to rebuttal, like I know that like 3 of the biggest Bitcoin mining pools they own like most of the network too. So I guess it's pros and cons to both, but I don't know enough about proof of stake or proof of work, like technically, to even get into it.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I didn't know that like there's the mining is centralized in some way, but I guess that would be centralization of a new supply of Bitcoin, right? Whereas I feel like it hasn't like 80% or maybe more 80% ish of Bitcoin already been mined. So
Right.
for me, the key statistic would be to look at what is the current centralization or dissemination percentage of the current Bitcoin. So all of whatever 80%, whatever that is currently in existence. I've seen different stats on this as well. I actually don't know for certain because I don't know if I'm just looking at FUD on Twitter, but some people say it's it's super. It's like the like 1% own the majority, but I don't know for certain. But from what I've seen, I feel like if you're going to compare all of the coins in existence, Bitcoin would probably have the fairest distribution.
Yeah, that makes sense. So this is kind of going back to before. So I saw your TikTok, right, about the money illusion. What is that?
Yeah, the money illusion. So in the video, I spoke about how in the UK here, the government have given nurses in the NHS, the National Health Service, they've given them a pay rise, right? And they've said that we're giving you a 4% pay rise, but then inflation is at 8%.
Yep.
So what that actually means is that the nurses are getting a 4% pay cut, right? That's the money illusion. The money illusion is the fact that if we see the number go up, so the nominal value of our cash go up, we'll think that it's good, right? We'll think that we're gaining money, but actually the prime metric to look at is the inflation rate. What is that in terms of the inflation rate? And if the inflation rate is higher than the percentage increase, it means that you're actually getting a pay cut. You're not, the purchasing power of that money is actually decreasing. It's not going up. But the way that we are as humans is we're psychologically ingrained into us. Think if something increases, there's more of it, obviously, but it's not the case when you're looking at money. And I think it's a very common problem. Like I think understanding inflation is not easy. It's not something that people necessarily get taught in school, right? Like, what the hell is inflation? That's the money illusion.
Yeah, a lot of people I try to talk to, like I work with, I was like, yo, invest your money. There's inflation, right? I think I was saying that like back when inflation was like 3%, it wasn't even high like it is now. And I was like, invest your money. They was like, oh no, it's a big risk because if I have 10 grand, it'll still be 10 grand in 10 years from now. I was like, yeah, like the number on your bank account screen be the same, but the buying power would not be the same. And they don't get it.
Yeah.
And I was like, think about houses. You can get a house back then for 50 grand. Now you're not finding a house in America for 50 grand. Or what? I think they sold half the US for like, you could buy half the United States for like a penny or 10 grand. They bought the whole half of the Western continent for $10,000 nowadays. Yeah. And that's not happening.
Yeah. The thing that really made me really understand it when I was younger is that some of my friends were talking about their other like family members who are old now, right? Like, so like when I was a kid, my friends, he had like uncles who were like in their 70s, and he said that this guy invested in nothing. He just had like 200k cash and kept the cash, and then he kept it all, and then by the time he's 70, he's realized that it's the purchasing power of that is nothing. Like, he can barely buy a house with that anymore. Whereas if he invested the money like back then, he could have bought like 4 houses.
Yeah.
So it's that. Yeah, I understand why people make these decisions, though. Like one is the lack of knowledge when it comes to this and inflation, and the other thing is people want security, right? People want safety. So cash, at the end of the day, like however much we beat on cash, it is still the safest asset to be in the short term because it's not as volatile. But for me, if you hold cash for the long term, you're automatically taking an L because over time, every single fiat currency is government generated money like dollars or pounds. Every single instance of it, the fiat currency has gone to zero every single time. And I don't think that's something that people really fully understand, right? I guess the key question is, what is money? Like when people say money, when you ask people what is money, which is a great podcast by Robert Breedlove, by the way. In that podcast, he answered that question, where he talks about more about money being like energy, but most people wouldn't say that. Most people would just think, yeah, it's dollars, or yeah, it's pounds. Money is pounds.
Right.
Conceptualizing money in any other way don't seem right. But there's plenty of other things that could be counted as money.
Yeah. I heard Arthur Hayes, the founder of BitMEX. I remember he mentioned that like everything should be like denominated in oil, because everything you do uses oil, like drive your car, oil. You got food on your plate. It had to be transported. Somehow oil is always involved in everything we do. Your lights, your car, heat in your house. So yeah, energy pretty much is money. So to wrap this up, right, we need some alpha for people who are just starting. They don't know what to do. If you had to pick your top 5 coins, right, or however many coins, not financial advice, what coins are you picking to start your portfolio?
Yeah, I think anyone that's ever starting, I get loads of people ask me this question on social media, and I always say, like, if you're starting, investing in crypto is like swimming, right? You don't want to jump straight in the deep end. Start off in the shallow end and become adjusted to it. And like most people in crypto, what they've done is first invest in Bitcoin, and that's what I did, and that's what nearly everyone I know did. not you though.
Exactly. Yeah, I went to the deep end and I lost all my money.
Yes, straight in the deep end.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, especially like if you've never invested in anything before, ever, I think, yeah, the first thing I do is invest in Bitcoin. But it also is it's very important. Like the advice that I give, that I always think is very important to mention, is that what you invest in is based on 2 questions. What is your time horizon, and how much risk do you want to take? Right. So most people say that, my time horizon is 1 year. Like I need the money ASAP, and I'm willing to take maximum risk. But if that's you, then cool. But I feel like everyone that's ever said that has learned the hard way.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what's needed. So I think firstly, invest in Bitcoin, but kind of expect to learn the hard way. Don't feel like there's anything different about this time, whenever the next bull market comes. But definitely Bitcoin, like I cannot stress how much that coin is important to me. And then, but definitely second is the ETH. Like I'm not even gonna lie, like Bitcoin and ETH, them two. Like if I was actually giving someone advice today, like January 2023, to be buying, like I'd say, like, well, if that was me and I was starting again now, I'd do 50-50 Bitcoin and ETH. Like, I wouldn't even think, like, and that's also the portfolio that Balaji Sebastian talks about. Mm-hmm. And anything after that, it's like so difficult to tell, because all of the coins that were popping in the bull market, now we're in the bear market, it's not 100% clear that they're going to come back again. And being like a high market cap coin, it's not an indicator that it's going to still be here. Like, look at Luna. Yeah. But saying that, like I feel like going into the next bull market, there will be other narratives, right? The narratives is what pumps the coins. The narratives is what drives the technology innovation as well at the end of the day. Yep. And I'm still very big on some of these layer ones to come through. I don't think that ETH will become that dominant layer one where it will subsume all of the ETH killers. So coins like Solana, Polkadot, I'm still backing them. Like I still feel like they have a role to play. And I also think the other thing are layer twos, right? So I feel like Matic, I've been following them through the bear market, and they've been some good developments. I feel like they've moved into zero knowledge tech. Yep. So using ZK rollups, and I feel like they're definitely, well, I'm not going to say definitely, but they definitely look like they're building, and they're growing in terms of technology. And so yeah, I mean, those are quite big coins. Like I don't really like talking about those juicy coin market cap position 1,000 coins, because
change your life overnight type of coins. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, right now it's just like that. You gotta be mad to invest in them right now. And I think the only time like it would be more clear about what kind of coins go on pop is when the bull market starts again, and then we can see which narratives start popping again, like metaverse, gaming, VR.
Yep.
I feel like AI. So like right now, like AI is just booming in general with ChatGPT, OpenAI, Midjourney, all of these tools, and I've been thinking about like there was an AI sector of crypto. I mean, there is an AI sector of crypto but it's never
Yeah.
really been fully like looked at, or like the light has never really been shone on it. The narrative has never really pumped,
Yeah.
and it reminds me of an NFT that I bought actually, look like back in the bull market, and it was by this project called Alethea AI, and
Mhm.
they created this AI NFT that sold for like 500K at Christie's auction,
Dang.
and yeah, it got me thinking a lot about how is AI gonna link in with crypto. It's something that I'm still thinking through right now. I don't really have concrete opinions or ideas, but I feel like that's another sector to watch.
Yeah. I know there's like Fetch AI, that FET coin. I know it's on Coinbase. That's the only one I know of. I don't have it though. I just know of it because of the AI aspect.
Yeah,
So, so Bitcoin and ETH, that's your portfolio, and some layer ones. It's kind of funny because like I feel like ETH will, in my opinion, I think I've just seen too much that like a layer two, like arbitral optimism is cheap. Then why would I go to Solana or Polkadot when all the apps for now are still on ETH? So it's more upside for the layer ones if they could pull it like a good app. But we'll see.
yeah. I think for me, like the thing that separates something like Solana from the layer twos is the fact that Solana have built a phone. And I
Yep.
think the crypto phone is a game changer. It's hard to understand uh, how that is going to look like, but for me, I feel like that it's going to be a given. Like operating systems will develop from blockchains, right? And having like I heard Balaji talk about this. He done like an 8-hour podcast with Lex Friedman, and he
Dang. Yeah.
talks about how blockchains are a type of operating system because they have a like a virtual environment in terms of their like the virtual machines, and they're capable of um, holding like an app store on there, like a decentralized app store. So I feel like when Solana phone comes out and it's operating on like the Solana operating system, I think that's going to open a lot of people's eyes as to what is going to be like, what the future is really going to be like. Um,
Yeah.
because it's hard for me. I don't really fully understand the details, but it just seems like being able to hold crypto natively on your device, and not just crypto, but your NFTs, and like not just NFTs in terms of artwork, but NFTs in terms of um, identity, right? Or like whatever virtual digital identities that we kept as either NFTs, soulbound NFTs, verifiable credentials. Having all of that natively on your phone means that you own your identity for real. Like it's actually with you here now.
Yep.
So yeah, it's a big unlock.
And I think even if it like flops, right? I think even if it gets like 0.01% or 1% market share of like phones, you might have like big players like Samsung and Apple be like, hey, these guys just failed at this. Let's fix what they failed on and put in Apple Wallet now or Samsung Wallet. And now you can hold Bitcoin in your Apple Pay or something like that, or Samsung Pay, Google Pay, even if Solana phone
Yeah,
flops. So that's pretty interesting.
yeah, yeah, for real. I think that sounds like that's probably something that will eventually happen. Like
Yeah.
integration on that level. But I feel like ETH OS is also getting developed. Like whenever an Ethereum operating system comes out, that will explode.
Oh yeah, for sure. Okay. Well, that about wraps it up. We should definitely do a part two if you're down, and maybe we'll get a little bit
Definitely,
more
man.
technical and dive a little bit deeper. But where can people find you? Social media, LinkedIn, anything?
Yeah, man. I'm everywhere on social media. You can find me at Deen Somally. DENSOMALLY. I've got a bunch of scammers also like impersonating me. So yeah, just at Deen Somali, no punctuation, no underscores. Yeah,
All right. I appreciate it, Dean. Nice talking to you.
good talking to you, Jordan. Take care.
All right, man.